By faith, I see a miracle. My God made me a promise, and He won't stop now. Within 3 hours of touching down on American soil, I was singing that song in a church. Hello everyone, it's good to be back on YouTube. To all my American subscribers, I just want to say I had a fantastic time in your country. Florida was absolutely sublime. As a Scotsman, you have to understand the appeal of visiting a sunshine state. We live in perpetual darkness for 6 months of the year. We're only just coming out of it, and it took a little reacclimatising over the past week just to get back into things here at home. But while in America, it was cool to kind of see the saturation of Christianity in the country. Probably more so in the south. I would imagine New England's a little more pluralistic, a little more secularized than it is down in the south, where you typically have a lot more church attendance. You know, I think 37, 39 US states are majority Christian, and I think most of those you're going to find around about the south. Of course, in the United States, 75% of US citizens identify as Christian, and 62% are members of churches. This is incredible. It means over 240 million of your citizens identify as Christian, which makes the USA the most Christian country in the world, at least quantitatively. Qualitatively, well, that remains to be seen. Now, I'm not going to be too cynical in this video, but from what I saw, you know, there is at least a materially healthy Christianity in the United States. You turn on the radio, you hear songs just like this elevation worship music. It's on the radio, man. You don't get that over here. You don't experience that in the UK so much. I don't know if it's still on, but there used to be a programme on a Sunday called Songs of Praise, where people would sing old Presbyterian hymns and the like. Maybe some new music on there too. I didn't really tune in that much. But nothing on the scale that you see in America. You hear sermons on the radio like every day of the week, churches all over the place, and people are a lot more willing to share their opinions on theology. Everybody has one, which is cool, which is great to see. And the thing about being in Florida in particular is, well, that's the birthplace of Christianity in the United States. That's where Christopher Columbus arrived in 1492 under the edicts of the Spanish monarchy. And then you had Spanish settlements come in, such as St. Augustine in 1565, and I actually spent some time in St. Augustine. I spent some time there. I saw the Basilica of St. Augustine, which is like the oldest church in North America. I walked inside it, I took some pictures. So it was an incredible thing, you know, and that's how I kind of inverted it. I kind of did that last. That was one of the last things I did. The first thing I did was go to this Discovery Church, and I like that little circularity there of that first settlement, that first church, and then this new church, this most current one, the Discovery Church, which was incredible. Within 3 hours of touching down, I ended up there. So me and my mysterious accomplice, we were driving, to maintain anonymity, but we were driving through Orlando, just looking for a bite to eat. You know, I just got into the country and came across this building that was all lit up, Discovery Church. Thought, what's going on in there? So I had a bite to eat, then we came back and we thought, let's go in. And it was incredible. I mean, it was a youth pastor, that was the young crowd that were there. This is something they do from time to time. And they had like 1,000 pizza boxes, soda, water everywhere, you know, force feeding me. It was about 9 o'clock at this point, and a sermon was just about to start, or a service rather. So we went in, and there was a lot of these modern hymns, you know. I ended up singing this song, and they were all very friendly, you know, to find out that I'd come from Scotland. They were like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, you came here from Scotland and this is the first place you came? You're here for a reason. I believe that you're here for a reason. And I was like, okay, that's fine. That's good. So I don't know. Maybe I was. And as I say, I would like to go back, and I fully intend to go back in a couple of months, actually. But yeah, no, it was an incredible experience. You could see the money in this place. It was a reasonable sized hall, a reasonable sized building, but it was embellished by all this technology. They had these huge Titantron, like these big sporting events would have these mega screens which they projected the pastor onto, which was completely I don't know, it seemed a little bit exuberant to me because everyone could see it wasn't that big a room, but still the lighting, the pyrotechnics, everything was going off. It was quite energized and youthful, you could say, and that's fine. If that's how they want to do their worship there, then that's perfectly valid, I'm sure. But yeah, I was really struck by just how openly Christian the country appears to be. Now, as happens, I think we all know that the trends for the religious mobility are, tending away from more conventional forms of worship. Certainly in the United States, the Christian population is an aging one, whereas the most youthful religious groups in America are your Hindus, Muslims, and your Buddhists. With 42% of Muslims being under 30, and 36% of Hindus and 35% of Buddhists being under 30. So, your Christian population is aging. But these other religions, they make up a very small percent. If you take your Hindus, your Muslims, and your Buddhists, all combined, it's less than 1 in 10 Americans. It's like 1%. The second biggest religion in the United States is actually Judaism, and that's 2% of your population. And even there, you can see the aging population, with those over 65 being your more orthodox or conservative types. Most Jewish people would identify as being culturally Jewish. The religious expressions are chiefly Reform Judaism, which is around 24%, and then conservatives about 14%, and Orthodox about 10%. So the way religion's being practiced in America is certainly changing, but we do see the demographics changing as well. There's a lot more non-white people in the country coming in with their expressions of faith, and bolstering the numbers in a certain way. But ultimately, most people are moving away, as I say, from conventional forms, particularly Asians and whites, with blacks and Latinos or Hispanics. I'm sorry if I'm getting the phraseology wrong. Just coming down. So I think since the 1990s, the secular, or rather the agnostic atheist numbers in America have tripled to almost a quarter of the population. Now, I don't know how that makes you feel, but certainly, I had a comment on my channel not too long ago, and a commenter was saying, well, look, hey, I'm not too hot on churchianity right now. And I read the comment, and I could sympathise with what they were saying, because it was in one of my videos about preterism. And of course, if you watch this channel, you know that preterism isn't a very popular view. And if you express this opinion, people will charge you with heresy or grievous error and choose to excommunicate, just not deal with you, which is a real shame. It's a real shame. I think it speaks to what I've heard called consumerist Christianity, and you can pinpoint its origins down to anywhere. You could say it's post-Nicene, or you could see it Adam. Take it back to Adam. Take it back to Abel. It's this idea of what God can do for me. What's God doing for me? Wanting something for God rather than selfless discipleship. And yeah, I mean, just thinking, certainly when it comes to the freedom of ideas, I'm quite happy with America. I'm, looking at the whole world and the way things are going, it's like there's an argument to be made that it's a lot difficult to express and only talk about certain ideas, difficult ideas, but not so much in America, where you have enshrined freedom of expression and speech. It's particularly a religious expression. I mean, initially you had the Spanish coming in the 16th century, and they would have obviously been Catholic, such as in the Spanish monarchy. But after the 17th century, the English Civil War, you had the Puritans come over from East Anglia, and these were chiefly Protestant people. And over the course of years, by the time the 13 colonies were established by 1776, it was a chiefly Protestant country, which I think is for the better. Um, those Puritans, they left England because of the oppressive Church of England. It wouldn't allow them to live their lives and express their faith in the manner that they would like. And so I'm very heartened by the fact that the model of freedom of expression was maintained and has been celebrated in America ever since. And it's something you really need to protect. It's an idea that you need to deal with very seriously, tactfully, sensitively, because it's a precious, precious thing. And it's rare, and you don't realize that if you're if you're inside of America, if you're inside the UK, if you're inside certain Western countries. And I say certain Western countries because we take for granted a lot of the comfort we have in our countries, and no more disgusting of an expression did I see of that recently than I read about an Iranian woman who was seeking refuge in the UK. And she came to the British Home Office and she was interviewed by some young pencil pusher who openly mocked her for her faith in Jesus Christ. He mocked her. He said, obviously you don't believe in Jesus enough. Otherwise you would have stayed in that country. You would have stayed there and Jesus would have protected you from the bullets. Just, being very derisive and insulting and things of that nature. Things are said like that. And when one of the women said that, Christianity is, it's a non-violent religion, well, she was openly mocked, and he found lots of Old Testament Bible verses about warfare and the like, and decided to hit her with that, which it's just very telling of the satanic Antichrist spirit that work in some of the hearts of the sons of men. It's a real crying shame, and I don't think there's a more vivid manifestation than that. Here's a woman looking for that freedom of expression for herself, for her children. She wants to bring children into the world in a country that celebrates these things, and well, she's finding that the UK is going down a slippery slope, which again is why I just love and celebrate the United States. So, yeah, very happy with what I'm seeing out of America. Going back to the sort of Nicene times, the 3rd century, I was looking through some of Arius of Alexander's ideas, and while Arius was wrong, I can say that blatantly, he was wrong. No, but there was lots of different competing Christologies at the time, and he had his idea, which was actually it was a lot more coherent, logical, and well-rounded than anything the Council of Nicaea came up with. I mean, Arius believed that the third person, or rather the Holy Spirit, was some kind of angel, some kind of higher angel, which we understand to be wrong. But it was a lot more coherent than the whole triune God idea. Of course, that wasn't even a part of the Nicene Council. They didn't even deal with the Holy Spirit at that point. They just had it down that Jesus and God were co-eternal beings. Of course, Arianus saw, and forgive me for mispronouncing that if I am, he saw that, well, it says in the scriptures that he was begotten, that God begot the Son. And so he just took that to its logical conclusion. He said, well, look, it says he was begotten, and we know that things begotten haven't existed from eternity. So maybe there's something to think about here. And then there is tales of his demise, and it looked like they poisoned him, they killed him. And this, again, it's connected to this idea, I think, of this consumerist Christianity, this churchianity, if you want to call it that, where people are taking for themselves. They're saying, what can this church give to me? And then people live in service to the church. People live in service to the church and its ideals, and it's where it's wanting to go. And that's very political and very man-driven. And you can see the fruit of that, particularly through the history of the Catholic Church, and sure, some Protestant expressions as well. You know, we see this murderous ethic in Calvinism and Catholicism, and it's a horrible, horrible thing. And it sort of makes you question organised religion. Interestingly, when you look, and again, I don't know, I'm just going to say this because it's a fact that I came across as I was looking into the religious landscape in America. But Jews, Hindus, and Unitarian Universalists tend to be among the most educated in America. And I don't know what to make of that, because I don't like this idea of saying, oh, well, the most educated groups, they're the best, or they have something over other groups, because a college degree isn't always an indication of intelligence, you know. It's that whole thing of rote memory versus your agility, your mental agility, let's say. So, you know, I actually did a little study on that one time. There's two different kinds of learning. There's instrumental learning, and then there's the other type of learning, which I'll make a video on something like that later. You're not interested in that. You're not interested in that. But yeah, I mean, when we look at the whole world, we see, and you know, I don't like to do this, but let's just do it anyway. You're Asians, right? You're Asians. You're Eastern Asians. They tend to be very, let's say, smart, good processors, good CPUs up here, and they tend to be less religious, and you wonder if there's a connection, and I think there is a connection. I think you can come to rely. It's this whole right versus left brain dichotomy. Now, obviously, for every kind of function, action, stuff like that, there's a bit of crossover. You don't want to divide the hemispheres of the brain too much, because they're both important. But there is a sort of weight to each side in what they do. And I'm actually reading a book by Ian McGilchrist, a psychologist and neuropsychologist, who discusses how we've become left brain dominant, which he thinks is a crying shame, because the right brain, this more poetic and expressive side, is incredibly important. It's incredibly important, and we shouldn't ignore it, because it helps us weave together the larger picture, to see the grander narratives, to take us away from the minutiae that sort of distracts and kind of bleeds out our spirituality, in a sense. I don't know, it's a very interesting read, but that's not the point of this video. America. So, yeah, I was in a gym in one of these hotels I was at. It was quite cheap. It was quite cheap. You know, I wasn't in a lot of hotels, as I said. I had a free accommodation. I was seeing a nice American contact I have over there, and yeah, I was working out in this gym, and I saw on the television one of these give us your money if you're a Christian, give us your money, you know, these very plump suited old American guys, you know, with their golden rings on and stuff, talking about, oh, I believe that 100,000 people are gonna call in today, Charlie. Is that right? Is that right, Tim? And you know, and they're going on like this, and I'm like, this is gross. This is gross. But it was kind of like a morbid curiosity where you're sucked in, thinking, what? You know, it was weird. I didn't like it. I thought that's not what it's all about. That definitely seemed like consumer Christianity to me. So basically, we just need to be careful to maintain a sort of selfless discipleship as we move into the future and as we see the Christian landscape change. Ultimately, we are in the new covenant. We live in the victory. We do, and we need to take advantage of that. We need to celebrate that. And that's gonna, like, when you reach someone with a preterist message, they often think, well, what do we do now? What's the answer? What's next? And man, I just go to 1 Corinthians 13. Let me just double check if that's what I go to. 1 Corinthians 13. Yep, 1 Corinthians 13 is what I go to. Absolutely. Because what's everlasting, what's fantastic, what's good to live in is love. Is love. The prophecies, the tongues, all these gifts, all these miscellaneous gifts, they don't have anything on love, which is the ultimate expression of God. It's sort of like you've been 10-pin bowling with the gutter rails on, you know, the guardrails that stop you from rolling a gutter ball. It's like you've been doing that all your life, you know. You see a ball bouncing off the gutter from some time, but you still hit down some of the pins. And then suddenly someone's put you on a lane and there's no more guardrails on the sides, and you think, what? What do I do here? What do I do here? Man, you roll a ball. You roll a ball. You know? It might seem scary and intimidating, but it's not. You know how to roll a ball. If it goes in the gutter, you know, it goes in the gutter, but another ball comes back up. You keep practicing, you're going to get a strike, you know. Hey, that's what sin is, isn't it? Sin is missing the mark. And, you know, I'll make a little video talking more about sin. I think it's something I haven't really addressed head on in my videos a lot. But, you know, that's it. We live in a world now where the law's been taken away. Okay, the law's been taken away, the Torah, and now we live with maybe that's not the right phraseology there, but we have this law in our hearts, we have our consciences, we have discernment, and we have love, and that's what we live in now. You look and say, well, what do we need? Churches? Do we need this? Do we need that? You need what you need. You need what you need, and you should manifest what you think is right and what you think would be conducive to a Christian life, a Christian family, a Christian town, city, country, you know. But I do believe you know, something I like to reflect on is this idea of the one who is trusted with a little will be trusted with a lot. I really love that idea. I think that's a very, very beautiful sentiment. I reflect on that from time to time. Whenever I've got a task that seems silly, beneath me, you know, whenever it seems like, oh, why am I doing this foundational thing? Or why am I leading this life? Or why am I not here? Why am I not in this capacity? Why am I stationed here? You know, why is this job so humble? Why is this moment in my life so seemingly humiliating? What is this all about? Well, I think of that. Can you be trusted to do that little thing well? Whether it's delivering a paper, making someone a meal, giving someone their medicine, looking after someone. I mean, I do some care work, and it gets tough sometimes. You feel yourself run into the ground, and the people you're caring for can be aggressive towards you, and anything can happen. You think to yourself, man, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? You can think this is hard. And is it that important? Is it that important? Of course it is. Absolutely it is. It's the most important thing ever. It might not seem that way in your head. It might not seem that way in your mind because there's people building rockets for NASA and all the rest of it. But do you think God cares about that any more than He cares about you and the little minuscule thing that you're doing? No, that means the world to God. That means the world to Him. At least that's what I've heard. That's what I believe. That wee thing you'll do, that means the world to God. And how you're negotiating that. And He has the focus of the universe more than you can fathom. That is all on you. Not to put pressure on you, but all His love is focused on you. As if you're the only thing in creation. You're the most precious, precious thing. And when you think you're an idiot, when you think you're this, when you think God loves you. And if you can just internalise that and live in that victory of this new covenant, then America, the UK, the Dominican Republic of Congo, it doesn't matter where you are, the world is going to come into a beautiful understanding of who God is and what His purpose is for us. And man, there's the world I want to live in. Anyway, I went on too long, I'm rambling, it's great to be back. I'll make some more videos soon. Thank you for your new subscriptions, and yeah, to all the Americans and everyone else watching, it's been an interesting time recently, and I hope to do a wee bit more travelling, so yeah, whatever, leave me a little comment below, and thank you for watching again. All the best. God bless.